was doing my dramatic, I saw a note on my judge's ballot that said I should try slam poetry. In my dramatic, there is no poetry involved whatsoever. Apparently, since I have a knack for this gift, I wanted to share it with you. So today I'm going to show 3 different types of poetry and how to perform them. For my first point, we're going to whisk away to a different time period and work with Shakespearean sonnets. To my second point, we're going to jump into a world of friendship and fantasy and learn about Dr. Seuss poems. And to my third point, we're going to slide back into a bit of a harsher poetic reality with forensic-style poems. On to my first point, Shakespearean sonnets. So, poetry has been around for thousands of years, especially including the Odyssey and the Iliad, epic poems from the 20th century BC. They are such big, factors into the poetic world that they are still used and taught today. This is a big part of Shakespearean's time period because he was born in the 1600s. He was born in actually the 1500s, passed away in the 1600s, and he wrote hundreds and thousands of different poems and sonnets and stories and plays. Most of you know him for Romeo and Juliet, but I like his Hamlet soliloquy, which is to be or not to be. I'm going to share an excerpt of that today to show how I feel like this should be portrayed in poetic reality. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing end them. In Shakespearean world, you need to be dramatic. Shakespeare wrote morbid stage plays. It's kind of your job to go big or go home. A lot of his emotion is conveyed through words and imagery, and especially through keeping your vocal temperature up and high and always excited, but also pining and sad because, like I said, a lot of his poems, sonnets, and other stuff was about death. I mean, you all know how Romeo and Juliet ends, right? On to my second point, Dr. Seuss or Theodore Geisel. We all knew who he was when we were growing up. We all read The Cat in the Hat, The Lorax, all the stuff that we used to watch on the TV about the Grinch, and honestly, a lot of people just kind of disregard him as being someone who just writes childhood stuff. But I don't think that we've taken the time as young adults or even adults to take the time to realize what he actually meant by these poems. One of my favorite poems of his is Oh, the Places You'll Go, and it is still used in graduation speeches to this day. Here's how I feel like his poetry should be read as a young adult. Oh, the places you'll go, congratulations. Today is your day, you're off to great places, you're off and away. You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself in any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you know, and you are the one who will decide where you'll go. See, Dr. Seuss is never portrayed in that light. He's portrayed as someone who just writes childhood butter. It doesn't matter, but this truly speaks to me in a way that not a lot of poetry does, and it's something that I've been reading since I was little, and I find that very interesting. And you want to read Dr. Seuss in a whimsical way because although it is still childhood mutter, it is very interesting to read in another way. But if you're reading to children, you want to smile and be happy and peppy all over the place. You know, it's kind of like reading a humorous speech. And on to my third and final point, forensic-style poetry. Forensic-style poetry, I don't have an excerpt for that because, well, it's very hard to choose one. You need to be dramatic. You need to sell exactly what you're saying, and that's what the judges judge you on. You need to be believable. It's like your story is your own. Especially when you use different kinds of vocalizing techniques with making it sound like you're crying, which sounds kind of bad, but it's very interesting to watch. And if you're interested, I would highly recommend watching the National Speech and Debate Finals on YouTube. In conclusion, I've gone over 3 points about why this is about how you should perform poetry, and I'd like you all to learn it too. Thank you.